Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward. It's currently free, but in the future I'll add a small monthly fee to support the channel. Comment or message me what price feels fair for you. Let's make it comfortable for both sides.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward. It's currently free, but in the future I'll add a small monthly fee to support the channel. Comment or message me what price feels fair for you. Let's make it comfortable for both sides. Patreon link in description.
Chapter 1. Hey, have you noticed that there have been more mosquitoes recently? Yeah, I got a lot of pimple bites last night, itching to death. Look at my arm, it's not down yet. This looks serious. There's no way, brothers, adults can bear it, children can't bear it. It seems we can only buy pesticides and clean up the house. Go together. Together. Several villagers discussed it and headed straight for the department store together. But none of them noticed. There was a child standing not far away, and he curled his lips when he heard their discussion. Kamiya Qingkong traveled to this world 6 years ago and became a member of Konoha. Ordinary background. My parents died unexpectedly early on the night of 9 Tails, and they were raised by Konoha's orphanage. Originally, Qingkong thought he would be like this in his life, and he didn't have any talent for becoming a ninja. Who knows that the sky is inexhaustible? Just a month ago, Qingkong awakened his own power, the mosquito clone. This mosquito is not a real life. It is transformed by Qingkong's mind and body energy, and has all the characteristics of mosquito creatures. For example, it is possible to suck human blood and secrete toxins. And the human blood sucked back can be transformed into Qingkong's own energy and strengthen his body. To put it bluntly, this is a self-interested ability. But Qingkong doesn't care. It's not bad to have the capital to stand up and live, why do you still think so much? Besides, he felt that this ability was very good, and it was in line with his own taste. It's not that Qingkong likes to suck human blood, he just thinks that it is very real to hurt others and self-interest, and is not artificial. Qingkong, what are you doing here? 3 children came over. The future Inoshika CH combination, Nara Shikamaru, Akimi Chichichi, and Yamanaka Ino. Oh, nothing. Qingkong shook his head without explaining. But because of his handsome appearance, it was too attractive to the little girl's attention. The Cosmos Ino girl still came close by herself and said with a smile, then let's go to school together, Qingkong-kun. Woman. Shikamaru flipped a Byakugan, and Chi beside him was eating potato chips, fierce than pigs. It's up to you. Anyway, it's all on the way, Qingkong has nothing to refuse. After the 4 children went on the road together, Shikamaru was empty all the way, Chi was eating all the way, and Ino was always chatting in Qingkong's ear. Why did she plant a flower yesterday? Her father's private money was discovered the day before yesterday, and her mother was beaten severely. Advertisement. All the short things in the parents are shared with Qingkong. This silly girl. Shikamaru's mouth twitched, and he didn't know how to describe it. After finally getting to the school and walking into the classroom, Shikamaru hurriedly took away Ino, who had just talked about how old he was sleeping alone. This also makes Qingkong clean a lot. Sit in your seat and look around. Many characters that have been well known in previous lives also come into view. Uchiha Sasuke on the left, Naruto and Inuzuka in the middle, Hyuga Hinata on the right, and so on. Except for the absence of the higher level 3 Xiaoqiang, the other 9 Xiaoqiang are here. After a while, Irika opened the door and walked in, quieting the noisy students. Class begins. But apart from some key points about practicing chakra, Qingkong is not interested in the ninja story told by Irika. To be honest, Konoha's shinobu school is really not good. It's so easy, there is no sense of tension at all. Within 6 years, as long as you learn the 3-body technique, you can successfully graduate and become genin. What kind of training is this for the next generation? It's so funny. What time of peace? You know, it's only 6 years since the Third Ninja World War. In just 6 years, Konoha has forgotten the cruelty of war, the pain caused by Nine Tails, and the humiliation brought by Cloud Shinobi. Become a passing, muddle-headed, reluctant to make progress. The third generation item is indeed old. Qingkong shook his head slightly. He didn't look at Sarutobi Hiruzen when he was watching anime before, but now he is immersed in the scene, even less. Because he is also an old man, Oniki of Iwagakure is older than Sarutobi Hiruzen. However, they have not lost their fighting spirit, and are still working hard to find a way out for the village, fighting on the front line. How do you say that? It's really harder to compare people to others, and to shop around. Ren and Nogi survived to the finale, and led Gakage to fight Uchiha Madara together. And Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped cooking as an apprentice, and didn't survive the 80 episodes. The gap is too big. Kamiya Qingkong, pay attention. Irika knocked on the blackboard and said. Oh. Another guy who was poisoned by the will of fire. Qingkong put his chin on, and responded boredly. Really, what can't be done, the brainwashing first place, this is Sarutobi Hiruzen. Konoha can't keep so many talents, and the 2 most powerful bloodlines of the Sengoku period have also been destroyed, plus the Whirlpool clan. Nothing to say, really can't say it. Even if Danzo is white, his Sarutobi Hiruzen is not white. Chapter 2. Snapped. Where's the smelly mosquito? Uzumaki Naruto slapped his cheek, and yelled uncomfortably, which also drew a roar from Irika. This mosquito, of course Qingkong can get it. Anyway, I was idle and bored. Instead of listening to those unnutritive brainwashing logic, I might as well engage in my own abilities. Qingkong's mosquito clone is formed by his will and chakra. It can be manipulated as you like, and the number is limited by Qingkong itself. So far, because chakra has just been extracted, the number of mosquitoes that Qingkong can control is also very limited, and the maximum number cannot exceed 300. There are 2 possible ways to improve. One is to practice step by step, and when there are more chakras, the mosquito army will naturally increase. The second is to send an army of mosquitoes out to draw more blood essence. For Qingkong, the blood of other creatures is energy, a great tonic. And the higher the quality of the blood, the more help he improves. Therefore, Qingkong just stared at Naruto, wanting to try how much benefit his Nine Tails Taste Vortex bloodline can bring to himself. Again. Naruto slapped left, right slapped, and slapped indiscriminately, very alert to the surrounding mosquitoes, making Qingkong unable to start for a while. But the god assist Irika came, and he shouted for Naruto to sit down, or get out. Naruto didn't dare to resist, so he could only sit down honestly. This gave Qingkong an opportunity to control a few mosquitoes. All landed on Naruto's back neck, and the sharp mouth parts were inserted in an instant. Forehead. Naruto only felt a numb at the back of his neck, and his whole body became drowsy. After all, it is not an ordinary mosquito. The mosquitoes transformed with the Qingkong idea are more numbingly toxic than ordinary mosquitoes, at least dozens of times more. Coupled with his full force, even the elephant can't stand it after these few poisonous shots. Naruto is still safe, just a little sleepy, thanks to his vortex bloodline and Nine Tails in his body. Otherwise, come here with someone else, and I will pass out. One bite after another. However, the mosquitoes who drew Naruto's blood did not see any swelling. This is all because the blood drawn by the mosquito army has been transferred to Qingkong in an inexplicable way. Teleport through the air. Qingkong didn't understand what was going on. But no matter how much he has, it's not easy to use it. After a while, Naruto's face gradually turned pale, and the blood loss had exceeded 500 cubic centimeters, Qingkong quickly stopped. Otherwise, if you suck it down, this kid will be shocked by the sucking. Teacher, there is a problem in the classroom. A Baramashino, wearing small sunglasses, stood up suddenly. What is the problem? Advertisement. It smells bloody, my bugs can smell it. Irika was taken aback, but in order to ensure the safety of the students, he still questioned them one by one. Of course, nothing was found in the end. Naruto's blood regained too fast here, but after a short while, he became vigorous and energetic again. How can there be the slightest loss of blood? Therefore, this inspection can only end in a hasty way with a Baramashino's misrepresentation of military affairs. As for Qingkong, he doesn't have time to worry about the outside world, because his body is almost bursting. The 500 cubic centimeters whirlpool blood may also contain 9 tails chakra. This kind of tonic is too arrogant for Qingkong, and it makes him feel a little indigestion. It's like eating 10 bowls of rice in one go. That's a panic. Until a few hours later, school is approaching. Qingkong was only able to recover, and he didn't feel that support anymore. Qingkong-kun, I invite you to eat 3 color balls. Little Ino jumped over again. Thank you, but forget it, I don't have a good appetite today, let's talk about it next time. Smiling rejected Cosmos, Qingkong walked home alone. Seriously, after absorbing Naruto's 500 cubic centimeters of blood, he couldn't eat anything. Of course, the benefits of this blood to Qingkong are also huge. Even if it hasn't been completely absorbed yet, Qingkong's physical strength and chakra have more than doubled. It's an absolute supplement. So in the following time, Uzumaki Naruto also became Qingkong's blood bank and cash machine. If you don't smoke a few hundred cc every day, your whole body will feel uncomfortable. This situation lasted for a little half a year, until Naruto at this stage could no longer bring Qingkong much improvement. Qingkong let him go and moved to another target. Classmates, follow me to the training ground for practical lessons. After half a year of schooling, finally ushered in the first practical lesson. The students were very excited and followed Irika to the training ground. Let's talk about the way of fighting, and the confrontation marks, and Irika will start to roll the names. Akime Ichichi vs Inyazukaga. Harano Sakura vs Higa Hinata. Uchiha Sasuke vs Kamiya Qingkong. After a few sets, it was Qingkong's turn to play. He stepped to Irika's side and stood opposite Uchiha Sasuke. At this stage, the Uchiha clan hasn't died yet, and Sasuke is still the stinky little master. He glanced at Qingkong with contempt, and then he didn't care. First make a seal of opposites. Under Irika's guidance, both Qingkong and Sasuke made moves. Chapter 3. The test begins. With an order, Sasuke launched an attack first, and he quickly rushed to Qingkong's face and punched his side face. Qingkong tilted his head to avoid it, and then retaliated with a punch. Sasuke raised his arms to resist, but only heard a bang, and he was still knocked back several meters. Rubbing his extremely painful arm, Sasuke's face completely changed, because he never expected that Qingkong, who seemed to be similar to his own physique, would have such exaggerated strength. After the punch was hard, it made him feel as if his bones were about to break. Wow, Qingkong-kun, come on! 2 equally handsome boys, Ino looked around, and finally chose to stand on the Qingkong side, jumping high and cheering for him. Of course, Urshiza's popularity is not bad, and there are still many girls in the class cheering him. You can't force it, you can only outsmart it. Feeling that his arm feels better, Sasuke also thought about a countermeasure. He turned 2 backwards and pulled away from Qingkong, and at the same time took out a shuriken with his left hand. With a flick, all shot at Qingkong. Brush! Hidden weapon struck, Qingkong moved a few times and dodged, and then took out a handful of kunao and quickly rushed towards Sasuke. He is of course inferior to Uchiha's Grandmaster than hidden weapon, so if you want to solve the opponent, the only way to go is melee. Of course, this is the case without using mosquito clones. If it is in the field, without watching the crowd, Qingkong can bring down these two pillars in a single face, where is it so troublesome to use? Qingkong wanted to get close, but Sasuke naturally didn't allow it. While running fast, he threw the sword in his hand to block Qingkong's approach, but was avoided by the agile Qingkong. Finally, Qingkong still approached Sasuke and punched him in the abdomen. Ah! Sasuke screamed and fell to the ground on his back. The Ino girls who were watching saw that Qingkong had won, and just wanted to shout loudly, but only heard a bang, the white smoke dissipated, and the original Sasuke also turned into wood. What? This is body replacement technique. Wow! Sasuke-kun is so good, he even learned ninjutsu. Not only was the students around him dumbfounded, Irika was also very surprised, thinking that the children of the family were really different, and they all came to school with private jobs. Give up! The sound of Sasuke's stinky fart came from behind Qingkong, and the corners of his mouth were raised high. Do you think you are determined to win? Qingkong didn't see the panic at all, even if Sasuke's misfortunes held him back. You have already lost, do you want to come back? Sasuke frowned and said impatiently. Hehe, that's not necessarily true. Qingkong smiled slightly, and after a bang, it turned into a wood. Advertisement. The power is the mosquito. Qingkong himself is an extra-large mosquito. What are the characteristics of mosquitoes, apart from sucking blood and releasing paralytic toxins? There is also a heat sensor and a super sense of smell. Mosquitoes have poor eyesight and can hardly see things clearly. But they have infrared detection capabilities, can feel the heat in the surrounding organisms, and have a strong sense of smell, and can smell the carbon dioxide exhaled by the organisms. So even in the dark, mosquitoes can accurately find blood vessels and kill them with one blow. For Qingkong, Sasuke's existence is like a cloud of red light. It is very obvious wherever he goes, like a star in the dark night. What body replacement technique, it has no effect at all for Qingkong. I, actually lost. Feeling the coldness of Kyo on his neck, Sasuke's eyes widened too, and he couldn't believe it. Even if he would lose to a civilian student, he still couldn't fight back. This hit his self-esteem so hard that he couldn't take it anymore. Winning or losing is common, just try harder. Seeing Sasuke's face full of grey and defeat, Irika persuaded him and said, well, this time the competition is Qingkong's victory. Sasuke has learned the body replacement technique by himself and it is great. Everyone will settle and imprint. Try harder. Ji Yin, return to the team. Qingkong also received a warm welcome from Ino and other girls. As for Sasuke, he hid in the corner and licked his wounds. After school in the afternoon, I went to eat 3-color balls with Ino and others. After that, Qingkong returned to the orphanage alone. Little Qingkong, I found this during cleaning today. I will give it to you as a gift for the start of school, although it is a little late. The fat nun from the orphanage handed Qingkong a scroll with a smile. What is this? After taking a look, Qingkong asked curiously. The one that Dean Yakushi left behind should be ninjutsu or something. I don't know much about these things. You can take a look first. All right. Qingkong nodded and returned to his room with the scroll. His parents died unexpectedly, but they also left Qingkong with a little family property, plus Konoha's pension. In fact, he didn't have to worry about eating and drinking. The reason why I came to the orphanage was just because I was young and needed adult care. However, Qingkong has his own room, after all, is he considered carrying money into the team? The treatment is slightly better than those of the orphans from outside. Sitting at the wooden table, Qingkong opened the scroll and took a look. What is recorded here is indeed ninjutsu, 2 water styles, 1 earth style, and 1 wind style. They are relatively low-end, but they are also suitable for Qingkong to learn. Chapter 4. Write it all down. It may be related to supernatural powers, distractions. Qingkong's memory and learning ability are also much stronger than in the previous life. It can't be compared at all. A few basic ninjutsu, as long as you remember, this means that Qingkong will almost be able to use it. At most, the proficiency is not enough. I touched the wrinkled scroll, and finally signed it as Yakushi no, the former dean of the orphanage. She is not in the orphanage now, this is Danzo's pod again. 5 years ago, when Qingkong just arrived here for a full year, Danzo brought people to the orphanage, threatened with the grant and the children, and asked Yenaiyu to go to Iwagakure for spying. In the last resort, Yenaiyu can only agree. Before leaving, Danzo also took Yakushi Kabuto away. 5 years have passed. No Naiyu has never come back, nor has Yakushi Kabuto. The two of them have been performing tasks outside, but every once in a while, they will mail a sum of money to the orphanage as the daily expenses of the children. To be honest, these two are poor people. Because Qingkong has watched anime, he also knows that soon, under Danzo's conspiracy, Yakushi Kabuto will kill Yenaiyu himself. After that, Yakushi Kabuto will become confused and embark on the path of no return. If you can, Qingkong really doesn't mind giving them a hand. After all, Qingkong has been taken care of by the orphanage in the past few years, and it can be regarded as accepting a lot of favors from both of them. But it's a pity. For now, Qingkong doesn't even know where the two of them are, so how can they save them? It's really good fortune to make people, the better the people, the less life will be. After shaking his head, Qingkong couldn't say anything. And this sense of powerlessness made him even more eager to improve his strength. After all, if you are not strong enough, you will be at the mercy of others, let alone control your own destiny. 10 days have passed in a blink of an eye, and another full moon night will usher in. As before, Qingkong also sent many mosquitoes to the Uchiha family station to investigate the situation. The Night of Annihilation. Of course Qingkong will not forget this important event. After all, as long as the operation is good, he can eat this wave of oily mouth and break his belly without any problem. Today, Uchiha's atmosphere is very different. Around, suddenly there were a lot of anbu, or people at the root. Qingkong had a hunch that something big might be coming. The result was not beyond his expectations. After the evening came, the murderous breath spread, and the whole Uchiha was shrouded in clouds. Ah! With the first scream sounded, Qingkong also left the orphanage and surreptitiously came to the outer area of the Uchiha station. No matter how close it is, there are roots blocking the surrounding area, and nothing but mosquitoes can fly in. However, Qingkong can play with mosquitoes. Just a move of his mind, under King Kong's full urging, a large black cloud was also condensed around him. Advertisement. An army of 6,000 mosquitoes, under the control of Qingkong, all scattered and flew into the Uchiha residence. Buzzing. Damn, where are so many mosquitoes? The root staff on duty waved and cursed. Suppress you, be careful to be heard by the captain, and punish you to go to purgatory and confine you. Forward. Purgatory is a place where prisoners are punished by the roots. There is eerie and terrible, and the sky is not seen all the year round. The end is terrible. Hearing the warning from his teammates, the root ninja dared not speak anymore, and quickly silenced his voice. And the other side. King Kong's mosquito army has flown into the residence. Through the sharing of perspective, he also saw the dead bodies all over the floor, all from Uchiha's family. Have a big meal. What horror, what horrible, no strength is the real horror. While the blood of these corpses had not yet cooled, Qingkong controlled the mosquito army to pound straight down, occupying 10 corpses at once. 600 mosquitoes on each, start sucking. Hula la. Boom. Having never received so much energy at once, Qingkong almost never got blown up. But the opportunity is rare, and there won't be so many in the future. Uchiha lay on the ground and let him breathe casually, so even if the body was in severe pain, Qingkong still gritted his teeth and insisted on sucking. Suck. Just suck the horse. What could happen? Qingkong didn't believe it anymore, he would really be crushed to death. 1 minute. 3 minutes. After sucking 10 corpses, replace 10 more. Hiding in the grass outside Uchiha's residence, Qingkong was also swelled into a ball, his head seemed to be drunk, and he was a little confused. But he still remembered desperately sucking, and kept sucking. I don't know how long it took. 1 hour, or 2 hours. Just hearing a bang, as if something exploded, Qingkong's body also shrank like a broken balloon. Knocked on the skull, regained consciousness. Qingkong suddenly discovered that there was an 8-sided ball in his mind, as crystal clear as a blood diamond. How is this going? Try the mosquito clone again, it is easier to control than before. Could it be that this is the ability to break through? I don't understand, but it is definitely a good thing. Qingkong didn't think so much anymore. He seized the time and continued to control more mosquito forces to collect Uchiha's blood. 10,000. 20,000. 50,000. Obediently, this time he could control an army of 50,000 mosquitoes, nearly 10 times more than before. And absorbing blood, the same 10 corpses, now they don't feel uncomfortable anymore. Qingkong was even more convinced that it was his ability to break through just now. Chapter 5. No, let's keep going. Qingkong keeps up. After absorbing the blood of 30 corpses at one time, it felt a little bit supportive. However, as the blood absorbed more, Qingkong also discovered that the heart in his body was also changing to the color of the blood diamond, and the speed was still very fast. My eyes are also a little itchy. Qingkong rubbed his eyes, suddenly felt that seeing things were clearer, and the night could not block his sight. No way, no way. Can you start Sharingan if you suck blood? Qingkong was a little unsure, he quietly nodded, made a small puddle on the ground, and looked down. Sure enough, it was expected again. Both of his eyes turned into blood-red Sharingan, and they were especially 3-go jade. A smile turned up from the corner of Qingkong's mouth, and he instantly felt that this wave was very refreshing. Not only is the ability breakthrough, but he also accidentally obtained Sharingan, so he asked if the cowhide was cowhide. What's the matter, why are these corpses turned into mummies? A man in a black robe with a black pattern mask and hair that kills mad appeared in the Uchiha residence. He glanced at the mummy on the ground, and his words also revealed anger. This, I don't know, nothing happened before. Black-white Zetsu came out, also full of doubts on his face. Idiot, haven't you noticed a problem? Obito was annoyed by the mask. You know, he hasn't collected a few pairs yet with Sharingan. No. You, really rubbish. Obito became even more angry, and said angrily, let's see if these Sharingan can be recycled. Hey, White Zetsu stepped forward to check after hearing the words, and then shook his head. No, these corpses are severely short of water, all the inside is dry and shrunken, and the same goes for the eyeballs. Obito's called in anger, the kind that can't be added. Although ordinary Sharingan has no effect on him, it is not good to use as an Aki ninjutsu as a spare eye. This is a means of life-saving, it cannot be too much. Besides, the destruction of the Uchiha clan is the beginning of Project Tsuki no Mi. Obito will never allow anyone to sabotage and block his plan. And this guy who sucked up Uchiha's body was obviously an unplanned factor. Must be eradicated. Let's split up and find this guy first. I want to see who is against me. Good. Obito waved his hand, and when he disappeared into the ground, he also turned on Kamui Sharingan, and a Uzumaki teleported away. Advertisement. The Uchiha clan has a total population of only a few hundred people, which still counts the peripheral members. Qingkong sucks 30 people at a time, and it can be done in a few minutes. To be honest, he kills faster than Uchiha Itachi and Obito. This also led to the fact that Qingkong can only do things behind them, and the Mosquito army is also more careful, and will never appear on a large scale to avoid exposing itself. Through the perspective of the Mosquito, Qingkong suddenly discovered that a corpse in front of him had not yet completely died. This is a little girl, more than 10 years old, with long black hair, a delicate and cute blood-stained face, and a mole under the corner of her right eye. Could this be Uchiha Spring, Skunk's childhood sweetheart? When I first watched anime, Qingkong was quite impressed with this character, so when I saw this mole, I couldn't help but guess. As for why she is not dead yet, Qingkong controlled the Mosquito to check, and he found that the fatal wound of the girl was on the left side of the front of Hungary, but it did not hurt the heart too much. This is not because the enemy is lighter, but the girl's heart grows a little bit off. Good luck. Of course, if no one saves her, she won't be able to survive tonight. Buzzing. The Mosquito army gathered into an adult, and a 20-year-old masked Qingkong appeared. He held his chin with one hand and thought about whether or not to save the girl. The key is whether there is any benefit in doing so. 2 minutes later, when Uchiha Quan's life was getting weaker, Qingkong decided to save her. Not to mention, the blood of Uchiha will become a swan song in the future, with great collection value. Uchiha Spring is not a small girl in her own right. Even if it doesn't work, I can use her to exchange some good things on Uchiha Itachi in the future. Of course, Qingkong will never let out the things that are generally available. Squatting down, Qingkong controlled a few mosquitoes to fly into the wound of Uchiha Spring, repaired her heart wound, and transported blood. Swallowed hundreds of Uchiha's blood. Qingkong's body has become extraordinary now. Not only is there an octagonal blood crystal in his mind, but even the heart has completely turned into a blood diamond look. In addition, his blood is not ordinary blood anymore. Crystal clear, extremely high vitality, and regardless of model, it is a great tonic for anyone. It can be said that the current Qingkong is a walking ginseng fruit. The healing effect of his blood is stronger than that of Uzumaki phosphorus. Reverse transport, curing a dying Uchiha Spring, is simply a breeze. In just a few minutes, Uchiha Spring, which was on the verge of death just now, has immediately recovered as before, waking up with a whisper. Who are you? Aegyalua got up, Uchiha Chuan took out and looked at Qingkong without warning. Chapter 6. Hey guys, don't forget to share. Chapter 7. Little guy, this is how you treat the savior. Qingkong hugged his arms and looked at Uchiha Spring with cold eyes. Savior. In a daze, Uchiha Chuan also remembered the past. It was the guy wearing the black pattern mask who cut it off with a sickle and killed himself directly. Touching the marks on Hun's mouth, except for the damaged clothes, the wounds on his body were gone. Uchiha Chuan also understood everything in an instant. Thank you, you saved me. Are you Konoha's ninja? Konoha's ninja? Haha. Qingkong smiled and pointed to the mask on his face again. If I am Konoha's ninja, do I still have to cover my face when I go out? Forward. Uchiha Izumi bit his lower lip and said, then what is your purpose in coming to Uchiha Station, is to... You don't need to know what I'm going to do, little guy. If you have time to ponder my business, why not consider your own situation first? Qingkong looked up at the moon in the sky, nodded and said, well, at this time period, I am afraid that you Uchiha clan are almost dead. What? Uchiha Chuan opened her eyes wide, but thinking about the scene she saw before, she had to consider this possibility again. No. Mother, her. As soon as he turned around, Uchiha Chuan ran towards the distance. Qingkong didn't stop it either, because he wanted to see if Uchiha Chuan would also open Mangekyo Sharingan after experiencing such a cruel impact. Slowly following behind, Qingkong seemed to have come for a walk, passing by the corpses one by one. Soon, Uchiha Chuan ran to a small courtyard. But the situation in the small courtyard stopped her and stood on the spot blankly. Because they are all dead. Her mother, 2 servants. The 3 of them were lying in a pool of blood, no longer breathing. No, this is not true. Like a walking corpse, he staggered to his mother's side. Uchiha Chuan squatted down while shedding tears and reached out to touch her mother's cheek. But at the moment of contact, the cold feeling made Uchiha Spring resemble an electric shock, and suddenly withdrew his hand. She can't believe it. His mother just left. Weeping silently, Uchiha Chuan's shoulders trembled. What a cowardly performance, tisk tisk. You. Uchiha Izumi turned around abruptly, his eyes full of murderous aura. Yes, that's the look. Qingkong slapped his hands twice and smiled slightly. If you want to avenge your mother, you must have such a killing intent. Of course, it is not against me, but against the murderers who killed your mother. Who? Do you know who the murderer is? Certainly. Qingkong smiled again and said, it's okay to tell you directly, one of the murderers is your childhood sweetheart, Uchiha Itachi. What? It's impossible. How could Itachi do such a thing? Uchiha Izumi's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it. Advertisement. What's impossible? Qingkong flicked off his sleeves and said with disdain, the Uchiha clan has signs of rebellion. In order to ensure the safety of the village, Uchiha Itachi accepted Hokage's appointment and took action to solve all this personally. An Uchiha Itachi's solution, you have seen it with your own eyes now, that is to kill all the Uchiha clan personnel, come to the bottom of the pan, and cut the roots. Everyone is dead, so naturally there is no way to rebel. This. Uchiha Izumi's body trembled, and his spirit trembled. Of course, Uchiha Itachi is not completely annihilating humanity. In addition to killing your mother, his parents, that is, the patriarch and his wife, there are also 99% of the clansmen. Nothing else. Sasuke, do you know? It's brother Itachi's younger brother, he is safe and sound now. Because Itachi has already negotiated terms with Konoha's senior management. As long as he kills all the Uchiha clan, Konoha will not touch his younger brother's hair. Not only that, after Itachi defected in the future, Konoha will help him take care of his younger brother and raise him to grow up. Uchiha Chuan. Does it feel very loving? In exchange for this special treatment with the lives of the whole people, this kind of love and greatness is completely beyond words. Little guy, are you right? Enough. Stop talking. Uchiha Chuan suddenly interrupted Qingkong, and yelled up to the sky, Uchiha Itachi. I want to kill you. I will definitely kill you. As the saying goes, the depth of love is the utmost responsibility. It was originally a pair of childhood sweethearts of Liang Xiaohu, and the innocent feelings are not mixed with any color. But now, Uchiha Chuan's hatred for Itachi has also grown infinitely, surpassing that innocent feeling 100 times, or even 1,000 times. The eyes are red as blood, and the 3-hook jade pattern is gradually linked together. That's right, under extreme hatred and grief, Uchiha Izumi started Mangekyo Sharingan. But because she was too young, her body and chakra were not strong enough to support this load, so after only a few seconds of turning it on, she fainted. Get it done. Qingkong smiled slightly, feeling that today is really not in vain. Not only did I have a round belly and I was very happy, but I also got a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan by accident. Yes, it is really satisfying. 2 steps forward, as soon as Uchiha Spring was mentioned, Qingkong planned to leave here first. But suddenly, a beam of blade light slammed across, as fast as lightning. At the critical moment, Qingkong directly threw Uchiha Spring into the air and took the knife with his own mouth. Stabbed. The skirt of his clothes was broken, Qingkong was also chopped off by this knife and flew out several meters, and then fell heavily to the ground. Chapter 8. Who are you? Uchiha Itachi stood on the eaves and asked coldly. Hehe, who am I doing the sneak attack? It turns out that it is you, Mr. Skunk, who kills his father and his mother and is not a son of man. Qingkong slowly raised his head, and a smile of disdain was drawn from the corner of his mouth. Uchiha Itachi's eyes were cold. Although he did this, he was forced to do so, and there was no other way. If Uchiha and Konoha are allowed to go to war, the result can only give an opportunity to the enemy country and cause Konoha to be completely destroyed. God knows how determined Uchiha Itachi was before he made his decision tonight. Of course, others are not allowed to talk nonsense. No matter who you are or what organization you are from, since you are here, you can completely stay and bury the Uchiha clan. With one brush, Uchiha Itachi disappeared from the eaves in an instant. Reappearing, he has reached Qingkong's side and cut across his head. When he didn't even bother to hide, Qingkong directly used his forehead to take the knife. There was a sound of golden and iron clinking, just like the previous stab at the mouth of Hungarian. Qingkong's forehead was only broken with a layer of skin, and then it was back to the original state in a blink of an eye. This is all because now Qingkong is a mosquito clone. And his army of mosquitoes, after the upgrade tonight, the strength of the insect body has also been greatly improved. I dare not say that it is harder than diamond, but at least it is not weaker than ordinary steel. The steel head is still the kind with solid chakra. Uchiha Itachi, no matter how good he is, without any mental preparation, he can't cut it with a single cut. Therefore, after cutting this second knife, Uchiha Itachi himself was dumbfounded. He rushed out a long distance, and opened his position with Qingkong. Hardened earth style? Are you from Iwagakure? Uchiha Itachi asked, raising his long knife. Well, I misunderstood it. Qingkong smiled and didn't bother to explain it. He moved his neck and said, it's up to you. If you want to fight, hurry up. If you don't fight, I will take the person away. Beckoning, Uchiha Spring, which was carried by the mosquito army, also flew to Qingkong's side. Uchiha Itachi frowned, but soon he let go, turned his head and left. Hello, what do you mean? Qingkong didn't understand anymore. How could he leave without saying anything? Uchiha Itachi paused, then took another step, and said, I am not the only one here tonight, you guys, just do it yourself. Is it okay to change your face in a blink of an eye and turn an enemy into a friend in a second? However, as a traverser, Qingkong is not unable to guess the mind of Uchiha Itachi. Although Uchiha Itachi was very cruel, for the sake of the safety of the village, he actually slaughtered the whole family and even the whole clan. But it is undeniable that Uchiha Itachi has love in his heart and is a kind person. It was only that he was severely poisoned by the will of fire, and he took the class of his friend Shisui again, so he embarked on the path of no return of this three-faced spy. As for why he didn't do it and let himself go, from Qingkong's point of view, the reason is also very simple, that is, that conscience is at work. It can be said that if the Uchiha clan is willing to compromise and withdraw from Konoha, Uchiha Itachi will certainly not act tonight. Advertisement. If there are friends to help, not alone. Let a few Uchiha people escape Konoha, Uchiha Itachi will not stop him, maybe he will help. Such a pity. The Uchiha clan will not compromise, and Itachi has no friends to help. His only friend, Shisui, had already died in front of him. The night of annihilation. This is a desperate choice made by a lonely man. Under the double-sided attack of Konoha and Obito, Uchiha Itachi had to do it. Of course, to understand, Qingkong still looks down on Uchiha Itachi. Anyway, if you put him on him, even if you fight with Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen and others, he will not kill his family. Most likely, Qingkong will only rebel with the tribe. Right. What's wrong with him? There are so many things to worry about, so why is Konoha safe and peaceful in the world? Eating two rice, but worrying about the hearts of the people of the village. I really have nothing to burn in idle. Pigs and dogs are not as good. Really, this behavior of Uchiha Itachi sacrifices a small number of people for the benefit of the majority. What's the difference between this and the seller boat tickets in the 2012 movie? What's more, this small group of people are still their relatives. Even one's own relatives can be slaughtered. How is it different from that beast? One shisui, one ferret. They are all 2 or 5 boys who eat inside and outside, and they are also the most despised role of Qingkong in Hokage, inferior to Danzo and his like. Obviously he had a good card in his hand, but the start was sloppy. This is no longer a problem of stinky hands, it's purely mindless. Shaking his head, Qingkong didn't bother to look at Uchiha Itachi, who was about to disappear. He lifted the Uchiha spring, then flew straight up and flew out of Uchiha's residence. It really made a lot of money tonight, not only drew hundreds of Uchiha's blood, but also Uchiha spring, a pair of newly opened Mangekyo. The only regret is that Uchiha Fugaku's pair of Mangekyo, Qingkong didn't get it. Because they were taken away by the skunk, they connected the bodies of the couple. The reason for this is also related to Qingkong himself. It was he who made too much movement and turned hundreds of corpses of the Uchiha clan into mummified corpses. Once discovered, Uchiha Itachi will of course not leave the bodies of Fugaku and his wife. A matter of reason. Of course, if you didn't get it, you didn't get it, and Qingkong didn't have anything to entangle. He threw Uchiha spring into a cave in the back mountain forest, and let the mosquitoes look at it. The body also withdrew to the orphanage and went to rest first. Chapter 9. No words for a night. Early the next morning. Where is this? Uchiha Chuan woke up and knocked on his head in a daze. Mount Konoha, Death Forest. You. Suddenly seeing King Kong's mosquito clone, Uchiha Chuan was also taken aback. Why, I forgot everything last night. No. Uchiha Izumi gritted his teeth, and some killing intent appeared in his eyes. Uchiha Itachi. I must kill him. Then your current strength is not enough. Qingkong shook his head, sat down on a rock in the cave, and said, Uchiha Itachi's talent and growth experience, you should know better than me. What's more, he has turned on Mangekyo Sharingan now, and can slaughter hundreds of Uchiha people overnight, and even Jainin can't hold it for several rounds in his hands. How about you, how many seconds can you last? Uchiha Izumi lowered his head and clenched his fists. This is giving up. No. I won't give up. Uchiha Chuan raised her head and her eyes became more determined. She suddenly knelt in front of Qingkong and begged, My lord, no matter who you are, please teach me ninjutsu. I want to avenge my mother. Qingkong didn't respond immediately. He touched his chin and thought for a while before saying, It's not impossible to teach you, but I won't teach people for free. As long as the adults agree, I can give anything. Oh? Are you including yourself? Yes. The hesitation in his heart was completely shattered by the death of his mother. Uchiha Chuan unwaveringly cried. Okay. Qingkong did not conceal his happiness. He helped Uchiha Chuan up and said, Remember, you are already mine besides the road of revenge. You can't even die without my order, understand? It's an adult, Chuan must remember. Uchiha Chuan knelt down on one knee again, expressing his steadfast heart. The other side. Unlike the mosquito clone, the 7-year-old body still inevitably has to go to school after getting up early in the morning. Coming all the way to the school slowly, Qingkong found that the second pillar was absent. It's just that the news of Uchiha's extermination hasn't come out yet, and the classroom is still the same as usual. Qingkong-kun, this is a loving bento I personally prepared for you, please taste it. A little girl walked in front of Qingkong, holding the delicate and beautiful pink bento box in both hands, bending down and said solemnly. Forward. Go away, Qingkong-kun won't eat your food. Before Qingkong had time to speak, Cosmos Ino appeared. She squeezed away the girl holding the lunchbox and sat beside Qingkong. As if by magic, he took out a lunchbox and said to Qingkong with a smile, "Qingkong-kun, please try this breakfast. I made this by myself." Qingkong is speechless, for these little girls who are too precocious. Advertisement. Maybe this is Konoha's style. In a comfortable life, I like to talk about love, without any sense of tension. This is the success of 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, but it is also his failure. After all, although a comfortable life is good, it will also make people lose their morale. While other countries are struggling to develop and struggle hard, Konoha has always had a playful mentality. To be honest, it is necessary to talk about competitiveness. If it is not for the country of fire, which has vast resources, abundant resources, and the most powerful logistics, here is the early special. Students, let's talk about Konoha's development history today. It's another boring day. Ninja school, they don't teach ninjutsu, they just talk about messy things, so that students can learn history and the will of fire. This is so, isn't it a waste of time? At least for Qingkong, this is absolute. So at noon, he simply made another mosquito clone to replace himself in school, and the deity went to find a place where no one was there to practice. "Ah, Qingkong-kun, I'm really sorry for not seeing you cultivating here." A cowardly voice came from nearby, causing Qingkong to turn his head. "It's little Hinata, why are you here?" I went to Nara's house with my father today, so I didn't go to school." Her face flushed when she was called by a little Hinata, but she still tried to explain. "Oh." Qingkong nodded, and didn't care much. Because in the school, Hinata is inherently small and transparent, with a low sense of presence. If it hadn't been for today, Qingkong wouldn't know that she hadn't gone to school. After all, he wouldn't pay attention to this aspect. "Then you are here, to practice." "Hey." Hinata bowed first, and then explained, My talent is not good. I can only catch up with everyone if I spend more time practicing. I'm so sorry to disturb you." "Where and where?" "This is polite." Qingkong is really convinced. He waved his hand and said, "I just came here today. I didn't know it was your site." "Then you can practice here. I'll change another place." "No. No need." Hinata hurriedly shook his hand and said, "The place is very big here, Qingkong-kun can be used at will, no need to find a place." "Will it bother you?" "No, it's okay." "Okay then. Of course, if you can't change the place, you won't change it." Qingkong is not so hypocritical. He turned away from Hinata for a distance, and then began to practice alone. Before, the fat nun of the orphanage gave Qingkong a scroll, which recorded several basic ninjutsu. Water style, water barrier. Water style, water dragon bomb. Wind style, 1,000 faces wind. Earth style, Tolong gun. 4 ninjutsu, 3 offense and 1 defense. The most powerful is B-level ninjutsu, water dragon bomb. Qingkong practiced one by one several times first. All 3 C-level ninjutsu were learned instantly, and the water dragon bomb was only completed 3 or 5 times. Chapter 10. Water style, water dragon bomb. The seal was completed in an instant, and Qingkong folded his hands together. In the next second, a huge faucet condensed around him, and the faucet opened its mouth, spitting out water bombs after another. Boom! 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 The woods in the distance were directly beaten by these water bombs, making them chaotic. Of course, so is the power of B-level ninjutsu. It is impossible to destroy a large area at a time like an A-level and an S-level, just like a missile. Wow! Qingkong-kun is amazing. But that's it, little Hinata was also surprised and couldn't help but scream. Until Qingkong looked at her, the little girl felt that she had done something wrong again, and she lowered her head in embarrassment, her cheeks were completely red. Yes. I'm sorry Qingkong-kun, I interrupted your practice. Hinata bowed and apologized. As for? Qingkong sucked his teeth. To be honest, he really wanted to try insulting this girl and see how she could react. Is it to fight to the death? Still keep tears and give up struggling? This question is always very interesting. Of course, Qingkong is not so perverted yet. In broad daylight, Aunt Rang, who is alone in the wild, is not like a skunk to study, is it too beast? The key, anti-crab, is not allowed either. Ah, Hinata. Hey here. I have a question for you. Yes, what is it? Can your Hyuga clan use ninjutsu? This is okay. Then why haven't you used it? Little Hinata lowered his head and thought for a while, and then slowly explained, this is Qingkong-kun. We Hyuga are not in the ninja family line. I don't know the specifics. I just follow the inheritance of our ancestors and have been practicing. It's just ninjutsu. Oh, got it. Qingkong nodded and said, then you Hyuga will marry a foreigner. This. As the sun sets, the grass grows and the warbler flies. At dusk, the woods were plated with gold. Qingkong and Hinata were sitting on a dead tree. As time went by, they also talked more and more happily. Even Xiao Hinata put down his restraint, and was amused by the jokes Qingkong said from time to time. Ah, it's so late. Unknowingly, the sun had already set, and little Hinata also stood up quickly. Sorry to say, sorry Qingkong-kun, it took you so long. I apologize for what? Advertisement. Qingkong also stood up and smiled, unless you haven't regarded me as a friend. Ah, friend. Little Hinata's face flushed, her hands entangled and said, I certainly would like to be friends with Qingkong-kun, but don't you think I'm too stupid? Ma yet, what a self-confident baby this is. In other words, how did the daughter Hinata grow up? Naruto has Naruto's suffering, but Hinata, who doesn't have a friend and has not been recognized by anyone, is probably not much worse than him. Maybe because of this, the two of them will come together in the future? Do two people of the same fate hug each other to warm each other? Qingkong shook his head, feeling that talking to this kind of person was really exhausting, because he was too sensitive. Hinata, everyone is different. They have their own shortcomings and strengths. You don't need to bear so many things. Don't care about others' evaluations. Life is inherently difficult. It is the most important thing to live by yourself. Hey I really listen to conceit, talk is better than reading 10 years. Hinata felt that Qingkong's words really meant her heart, and she didn't want to bear so much, she didn't want to live in the eyes of others. It's just a pity. As the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan, she can't help many things. Qingkong-kun, do you live out of yourself? Little Hinata couldn't help asking again after bowing. Working hard now. After squeezing his fist, Qingkong looked into the distance and said, work hard and improve your strength. In fact, this is fighting for yourself. If you use the words of shinobi to describe it, then this is my shindo. Not for others, not for the world, but for myself, to live a different and wonderful life. For a while, Hinata was dumbfounded. Because she used to hear those heroic quotations, the will of fire and so on. Most of the thoughts led by Konoha are the noble spirit of serving the people and sacrificing others. How can someone be rebellious and selfish like Qingkong, who only thinks about himself and doesn't care about others? But by the way, I don't know why, Hinata's heart trembled, feeling that this was what she wanted most. What a world-famous hero is admired. What the will of fire is loved by others. Those are not the lives that Hinata wants. She just wants to live a good life and be happy every day without so many worries. That's enough. Arigato, Qingkong-kun. Hinata solemnly thanked him again and looked up and laughed. I think I understand what I want most, thank you very much. Well, what do you do so politely, aren't we friends? Yes, giggle. Haha. The two looked at each other and all laughed. Chapter 11. 2 days passed in a blink of an eye. The Uchiha genocide has erupted, and it is well known. Although Konoha officially said that this was done by Uchiha Itachi, and set it as an S-rank rebel, set a huge reward. But this is just shocking, not the most terrifying news. Some ninjas who went to deal with corpses in the Uchiha clan land revealed the news after they came out. In the Uchiha clan, hundreds of corpses, all turned into weird corpses due to inexplicable reasons. All of them turned into corpses overnight. After the news came out, Konoha was also panicked, and he dared not go out in the evening. Because it's too scary. Some people say that this is Uchiha Itachi who has practiced evil ninjutsu and ate the souls of the whole family. Some people also say that this is the Uchiha clan that is too evil, God can't pass it, so they cast a vicious spell to punish them. In addition, there are rumors of monsters committing crimes, evil creatures cannibalism, etc., which scared Konoha's civilians to death. My lord, when will you teach me ninjutsu? In the dead forest. After 2 days of rest, Uchiha Chuan begged impatiently. She wanted to improve her strength as soon as possible so that she could avenge her mother. Chuan, you are too impatient. Qingkong Avatar shook his head and said, the reason why I don't teach you right away is that I want you to understand a truth. At any time, don't get angry and lose your ability to judge. Listen, Uchiha Itachi is not that easy to kill. If you can't even the most basic calmness, what revenge is there? This, what the Lord taught me. Uchiha Izumi lowered his head, and slowly loosened his clenched fist. She breathed a sigh of relief and adjusted her mentality, and then said, thank you for your teaching, I will remember what happened today, and I will never make the same mistake again. Qingkong nodded and said, take a rest for 2 more days. When you are completely prepared, I will teach you how to improve your strength. Yes, thank you sir. Uchiha Chuan bowed, then turned and went back to the cave. Qingkong didn't care about her anymore, saying that the reason why she didn't teach it now was that Qingkong didn't have so many ninjutsu in his hands. However, this matter can be resolved. In the evening, Qingkong turned into a sky full of mosquitoes and flew to Uchiha's clan land. This time he came here for the ninjutsu collected by the Uchiha clan. As Konoha's largest family, Uchiha's collection is certainly extraordinary, and the number is not small. In the past 2 days, Konoha's executives were busy dealing with dead bodies and issuing wanted orders, and they had not had time to transfer the Uchiha family's property. This just gave Qingkong an opportunity to take advantage of it. The mosquito army flew high in the sky, circled a few times over the Uchiha station, and then dispersed completely. This time I came for ninjutsu, of course, if I found other good things, Qingkong would not let it go. Advertisement. In order to avoid exposing yourself, it is best to look for the target in the form of a mosquito, and the human clone does not have to appear. Buzzing. Through the crack in the door, Qingkong flew to the patriarch's house first and searched for a wave. The blood stains on the tatami are still there, they are all traces left by Fugaku and his wife. But this has nothing to do with Qingkong, he searched for 2 laps, and he did find some good things. I won't talk about silver tickets, calligraphy, paintings, and gold objects. There are also 2 famous knives and more than 10 ninjutsu scrolls. Pack them all. Under the control of Qingkong, thousands of mosquitoes gathered into 2 hands, and then pulled a sheet to wrap up all the good things. Then, the mosquito army was divided into 2 groups. One wave sent things to the dead forest to hide, and the other wave of mosquitoes continued to search for the next place. First search all Uchiha high-level residences. What the elder's house, the steward, the police captain's house, Qingkong never let go. After the whole trip, he searched 80 to 90 million taels for the banknotes alone. Not to mention the scrolls of ninjutsu, there are hundreds of scrolls in Qingkong before the Uchiha's Tibetan scripture pavilion has been found. Of course, this also made him look forward to the Uchiha clan's Tibetan scripture pavilion. Hard work pays off. Be careful to avoid those root secret whistles and the ninjas on patrol. After turning around the resident for more than half a circle, Qingkong finally found the right place. This is a very large ancestral hall, which enshrines the spiritual thrones of Uchiha's ancestors, and in a large back room, there are thousands of ninjutsu scrolls. An army of mosquitoes entered everywhere. Even though this place was very secretive, Qingkong was still able to discover it. Then it's easy to say, it's nothing more than a few more transports. After a few hours, the sky gradually brightened. Qingkong has moved more than 10 reels, and now only the last 2 reels are left. Click. Whew. The luck was not good, and it was too much to carry. Qingkong was a little tired, and then he missed a moment and dropped a scroll on the ground, making a little movement. But it was this little movement that attracted several ninjas. Be careful and search me thoroughly. The leader ninja pushed open the door of the ancestral hall and waved his hand to command. Yes. Several other ninjas all entered the ancestral hall, dispersed and searched. Forget it, let's stop there. Anyway, I got the big head, and there are only 110 scrolls left. Don't worry. In order not to expose himself, Qingkong directly abandoned this thing. He manipulated the mosquito army to blink, and then disappeared. This is not space-time ninjutsu. The mosquito army was transformed by Qingkong's will and chakra. It was not a real life form. Of course, it disbanded when it wanted to. Chapter 12. My lord, something has happened. The ninjutsu scrolls collected by the Uchiha clan, as well as part of their property, have all been stolen. What? In the darkness, a terrifying and old face appeared, and it was Shimura-dan's. He hit the floor with a cane in his hand, and then asked in a cold voice, "Is there any clue? Who did it?" "My lord, the subordinates are incompetent." The root ninja knelt on one knee and lowered his head to explain, "The other party has come and gone without a trace, and there is no clue left, and we can't find it. A bunch of trash. The destruction of the Uchiha clan is due to Danzo. Naturally, the property left by Uchiha was regarded as his own. But now, he has lost so much inexplicably and halved the benefits of the plan to eradicate Uchiha. How can he not be angry or angry? Check, give me a thorough investigation." The old man doesn't believe it, and there are people who can escape the eyeliner of the roots and remove so many things from Konoha without knowing it. Yes. By the way, is there any clue to the previous incident? This, not yet. Go. A bunch of idiots. Yes. The root ninja trembled with fright, and hurriedly bowed and left. What Danzo asked was actually about the mummy. What monsters cannibalize people? Uchiha Itachi had practiced evil ninjutsu, and Danzo didn't believe in the bullshit. In his opinion, the night of Uchiha annihilation must have been brought in by forces that did not belong to Konoha. It's just that the other party is hiding well, and they haven't found their tail yet. But Danzo always believed that in his own territory, no one could escape his world. In the dead forest. It took 2 days for Qingkong to build an underground base specifically to store those scrolls. It can be considered a nest for oneself. Then, Qingkong used Ishin, which was a mosquito clone, for multiple purposes, and began to retreat in the base to practice ninjutsu. In fact, before, Qingkong itself only had 2 chakra attributes, wind and fire. But after absorbing so much blood, which led to the upgrade of his abilities, his chakra attributes have also changed to 5, and he has all the power, fire, thunder, and earth. In this way, you can practice any ninjutsu, which is a great thing. Go away. 2 pillars, which had not been seen in a few days, reappeared at the school, but their temper became worse. He slammed a male classmate away, then walked to the seat and sat down with an icy face. His attitude was as if someone owed him 800 million. Of course this is also normal. After all, the whole family was dead, or killed by his own brother. Zuzi, who was only 7 years old, was able to survive school. This was not so strong. Fart Sasuke, what's the look? Naruto was lying on the table, uncomfortable, but his eyes kept on Sasuke, and there were a lot of worries hidden in it. Qingkong-kun, Sasuke's family is really... Looking at the curious Ino, Qingkong nodded slightly, but didn't explain much. Advertisement. Well, that kind of thing is indeed too unfortunate, but it is not something we can worry about. Qingkong-kun, go to the barbecue restaurant after school, Shikamaru wants to treat. What? When did I say I'm going to treat you? Shikamaru quit, his face looked awkward. Did you forget what you said yesterday? I do not. Ino's eyes glared, Shikamaru's head suddenly went big and he waved his hand and surrendered directly. It's really troublesome. But Ino doesn't care about that. In order to have a meal with someone he likes, what's the matter with the little local tyrant Shikamaru? She smiled, and then took King Kong's arm and said, Qingkong-kun, shall we go together after school? Qingkong first glanced at Shikamaru with an uncomfortable face, then smiled and shook his head and said, forget it, I have things to do after school, next time I invite you. Hey, why is this? Ino was disappointed in an instant, and his whole body collapsed. It's not that King Kong's personality is so withdrawn and not sociable. The key point is that he does have a lot of things to do. He cultivates himself, develops abilities, and has to be distracted to teach Uchiha Chuan to learn ninjutsu. How can there be so much time for dinner or something? Not to mention, what he is going to school now is just a clone. Gentle fist, 8 trigrams palms. Too slow. In the woods, Qingkong is competing with Hinata. For now, Qingkong uses 3 mosquito clones. One goes to school, the other teaches Uchiha Spring, and the last stays in the underground base to learn ninjutsu. But his body is practicing body art and various ways to develop mosquito powers. Sometimes after school, Hinata will come to this forest to practice. When I met today, Qingkong took the time to discuss with her, it can be considered to have seen the gentle fist method of Hyaga's family. It's a pity that Hinata is too weak, and hitting people is only a promise. This kind of discussion completely made Qingkong not experience anything at all. Yes. I'm sorry, Qingkong-kun. After the competition was over, Hinata hurriedly bowed to apologize. Here again, I tell you to be natural and don't pay too much attention to other people's feelings. It's too late. If you're tired, I can't understand it. Hey. Hinata bowed quickly and agreed, and Hinata scratched his hair again and smiled awkwardly. Habits formed over a long period of time can't really be changed for a while. Qingkong is no more. He doesn't want to waste brain cells on this matter anymore, he beckoned and said, Hinata, use your most powerful moves to attack me, give me some strength. Yes. Qingkong-kun, please be careful. Hurry up, you can't hurt me yet. Hi, here I am. Hinata took a pose, and then rushed to King Kong's front, punching him in the mouth. But her little loli did this, just to make Qingkong feel cute, without lethality at all. Chapter 13. Of course, the gentle fist method has merits. Qingkong threw away those messy thoughts and concentrated on fighting Hinata, mainly to get to know her gentle fist rules and routines. This is not difficult for Qingkong. Not to mention that Hinata's boxing technique is still very immature, and the speed is not fast. Qingkong itself has a mosquito ability. Over this period of time, after careful research, Qingkong has also developed several new methods of use. 1. Like Gaara's sand armor, he also got a set of mosquito armor. In this way, if others hit him, they must first break through his mosquito armor, otherwise he would never want to injure one of his vellus hairs. 2. Sensing ability. As I said before, Qingkong is an oversized mosquito. Even without eyes, he can perceive all living things in the dark. And go one step further, more nuanced and detailed. Qingkong can also use this ability to perceive the body's blood vessels, meridians, and the strength of chakra. Therefore, even if no one explained the main points of Gentle Fist to him, he could deduce the secret of Gentle Fist by sensing Hinata's blood and the flow of chakra. Of course, with Hinata, Qingkong's purpose is not to steal the teacher. A Gentle Fist method is nothing but it is not worth his brains. But in any case, this is also an advanced ninjutsu, and it is always possible to learn from it. 3rd. The method of using this ability is called Vientian by Qingkong. The mosquito itself is a very small existence. An army of mosquitoes transformed from mind and chakra is also driven by an arm under Qingkong's control. They can become anything if they want to combine and change. And in this way, there are more things to do. For example, the mosquito army is formed into a shield, a long knife of several tens of meters, and other than 18 weapons, there is no problem with another Gatling. If you play well in this way, you can fully improve your strength in all directions. When the time comes, even if it is against the cage-level powerhouse, Qingkong will still be worthwhile. After all, Tsunagakure's few sand players, didn't they just use small gatherings to grow up, playing small sand particles into the most violent killing weapon in the ninja world, and then they are so awesome. I can do that too. Anyway, from Qingkong's point of view, he is not bad at all. They play with sand and mosquitoes by themselves. In terms of unpredictability and practicality, Qingkong feels that his mosquitoes are better. Actually, Qingkong has more magical ideas. For example, by combining the mosquitoes and the sealed ninjutsu of the Vortex clan, he can display a super large defensive enchantment alone. Or, after practicing all the chakra attributes, you can get a thorough understanding. Not only can his mosquitoes be combined into cannons of various attributes, they may also be able to display a bloody succession similar to Dust Escape. Of course, it is certainly not easy to achieve that step. This is not just a matter of hard work, all kinds of ninjutsu knowledge must also be grandmaster, really understand it. Advertisement. It takes a lot of energy and time. However, Qingkong is now in the stage of laying the foundation, and there is time to make these preparations. So work hard. If there is a will, everything will come true. Qingkong believes that he can do it. Qingkong-kun, thank you for accompanying me in my practice, goodbye. Bye. Farewell to Hinata. Qingkong also walked back to the orphanage. In fact, he has been thinking about another thing all the time. How can he obtain the blood of others? Is it a matter of quantity? After all, he absorbed the blood of hundreds of Uchiha members and finally obtained Sharingan. But after this period of thinking and experiments, Qingkong discovered that this may not be the most critical reason. Blood succession limit, it should have nothing to do with the number, the key is the purity of the blood. When Qingkong sucks the blood of others, it will be purified to remove the dross, leaving only the most essential part, and then fusing it with itself. So, his current Sharingan is more powerful than the Uchiha clan. This is the effect of pure blood. In other words, Qingkong shouldn't be called Sharingan anymore. Because this is his own power, coupled with the blood of hundreds of Uchiha, fuse the new eyes that were catalyzed together. Common Sharingan have red eyes and black Guyu. On Qingkong's side, the black eyes and the bloody Guyu are just the other way round. In addition, Qingkong still has a feeling that he doesn't need any mental stimulation to his eyes at all. As long as he gets older, he can automatically upgrade. It's not just Mangekyo, it may even be like the Eternal Eye. This should be the pure benefit of blood. Just like Indra before, his brother Ashura didn't have Sharingan, didn't he also turn on Susanoo in full body? Whether Indra is the Eye of Eternity, there are different opinions in the past, and there is no final conclusion. Qingkong didn't know either. Indra, his pupils are too strong, only Mangekyo, or even 3 Tomo Sharingan can open Susanoo. Still, he was born forever. But no matter what, at least his existence can prove one thing, that is, the purer the blood, the stronger the power of blood succession boundary. This must be absolute. From another perspective, Indra's blood is strong enough, so his Sharingan does not have the side effects of blindness. And his descendants, with the passage of time, the power of blood is getting weaker and weaker, so they are getting more and more rubbish. Sharingan, there should be no Mangekyo at the beginning, the distinction of eternal eyes. It's just that the blood of future generations is not good, and there are too many side effects. That's why they came up with so many names, and what else must be put on the eyes of the brothers in order to have eternal light. Even if you open a Mangekyo, you have to kill relatives and friends, which shows how spicy it is. Chapter 14. Isn't this going to work? In the Death Forest, Qingkong is conducting special training on Uchiha Spring. Climb trees and tread water, run with weights, and practice ninjutsu. Squeeze the last trace of chakra. Uchiha Spring is also tired like a falling dog, lying on the ground and can't get up. Qingkong stepped up to her, holding his arms and said, "Listen, it's your own business to find Uchiha Itachi for revenge. I won't force you during training. As long as you want, you can go to rest now." "No. I can still hold on." Gritting his teeth, Uchiha Chuan supported the ground with both hands and climbed up tremblingly. "Since you are not reconciled, then run another 20 laps." "Yes." Uchiha Izumi roared and ran forward staggeringly, her sweat flashed across the air, and she looked shining in the sun. But life, as long as you bear hatred, there is not so much beauty. Qingkong shook his head, turned into a black mist and disappeared in place. The other side. In the forest outside Konoha, the Qingkong body has come out and is on the way to the water country. The reason why he wants to go to the water country is that Qingkong has taken a fancy to Hui Yoryuki's blood inheritance boundary. It is currently 55 years of Konoha. 7 years after the end of the Third Ninja War, Kirigakura of Water Country is in the most chaotic period. Uchiha Obito took control of 4th Mizukage with illusion, and implemented the blood mist plan in the village, which led to the collapse of many blood succession families. For example, the Shuiwuyo clan. It's a pity that the time is not in a hurry, and this blood successor Qingkong can't get it. But it doesn't matter, isn't there still the Yoryuki clan and the Ghost Lamp clan left? Calculating the time, Kaguya should also be about to have a rebellion, and Qingkong went to the water country this time to take advantage of the opportunity to make some money. It's like Uchiha that night. Stop and go. Qingkong is now in his 20s. He pretends to be a wandering trader, and first arrives at the West Blue Shore in a carriage. Then he chartered a small boat and floated all the way to the country of water. During the blood fog period, although the atmosphere of the water country was very tense, the entire territory was sealed off. But because the coastline is too long, it is impossible for them to have so many ninjas sent out, and there are sentries and so on every little distance. Randomly find a coast of no man's land to land. Qingkong also entered the territory of the water country very smoothly. "Brother, come and play." Passing by a small town, Qingkong smiled and dealt with the kabuki in those pubs, and walked forward again. He is dressed in ordinary clothes and sells various gadgets along the way, but Qingkong secretly collects information, and the route he takes is always to Kirigakura. In this way, another 2 days passed. Qingkong finally came to Kirigakura, but just as soon as he stepped into it, he felt that there were no less than 3 pairs of eyes staring at him around him. "Are you so nervous?" Qingkong felt that he still underestimated the impact of the blood fog policy. He tried to maintain a normal expression, pretending that nothing happened, and proceeded as usual. When you come to someone's site, you really have to be careful. Even with the mosquito power, 3 Tomo Sharingan, and chakra have already surpassed the Jainin level. Advertisement. However, there are many capable people in this world, and Qingkong doesn't think that he can fight one enemy 10,000, and one person can fight the entire Kirigakure. At least not yet. Sir, buy a toy for the child. Little girl, this card is 80 taels, how about I give you 2 more rubber bands? Auntie, this price is really not good. Like an ordinary hawker, Qingkong sells things on the street and is not in a hurry to do other things. Until half a day passed, the gaze staring at him reduced to 2 pairs, and then there was the last one. But this one is like the tarsal ant, when it is almost dark, the other party has not let off the supervision of Qingkong. It doesn't seem to go anymore. Qingkong didn't care about this either, and when it was all dark, he looked for a hotel to stay. Although Kirigakure is implementing the blood fog policy and shutting down the country, this is all aimed at ninja villages in other countries and it is forbidden to communicate with each other. As for ordinary merchants, they are not within the restrictions of this blockade. Of course, in case there are spies from other countries infiltrate, there should be no less surveillance, just like Qingkong is now. Even when he was sleeping, the other party did not leave. The next day early morning. After eating breakfast, Qingkong went to the streets to sell as usual, but in fact some mosquitoes were secretly separated and went to various places in Kirigakure to search for information. He is here for the blood of the Kyoryuaki clan. At least he has to make sure where he lives. Don't let things happen at that time, and you're still selling this card, it's funny. Hey, how do you sell this blue card? A big girl came to Qingkong. Although she was asking about the price of issuing the card, her eyes kept staring at Qingkong's face. Isn't it, ran into a nympho? Qingkong twitched the corners of his mouth and glanced at the girl. There was a twitch on top of her light chestnut hair. Cut, how old are you still doing this kind of hairstyle? It's childish. Look at the face again, it's pretty, big eyes, red lips, plus this perfect figure. No way, could it be, that Terumi may? It wasn't Qingkong's hindsight. The key point was that he didn't think about it at all. He had just arrived in Kirigakure for only a day, and this came across the most beautiful girl in the water country. Hey, do you need to think about it for that long? Sorry, Chinjui 100 taels. Take 3, is there a discount? 2, I'll give you 3 more rubber bands. Well, wrap it up for me. When taking out his wallet, Terumi May seemed to say casually, Boss, I have a question for you. What? Are you an outsider? Yes, from Thunder Country. Then, did you know that the current economic situation in the water country is very bad, and a large number of people can't even eat? And you, a mobile merchant like you, do not go to those rich countries to do business, but cross the ocean. Deliberately, what did you think about going to the country of water to sell goods? Hemp, do you want to be so cheating? Chapter 15. Qingkong couldn't help but twitched the corner of his mouth. But more importantly, if he doesn't pretend to be a vendor, I'm afraid he won't even be able to enter Kirigakure's door. Oh, have you ever heard of doing the opposite? Qingkong changed his mind. What's the meaning? As you said, the economy of water country is not very good. Everyone knows this kind of thing, so no vendors will come to water country to do business anymore. No one comes, it means that the competitiveness is low. And when I came here, didn't I just fill this vacancy and make a lot of money? Qingkong smiled and continued, the country of water is very big, even if it is poor, it is enough to feed small traders like me. Anyway, I am not that kind of big business, you think? It makes sense. Terumi May couldn't help but nodded, and his suspicion of Qingkong was also weakened a lot. Unexpectedly, you, a small trader, are quite clever. Isn't it a stubborn talent to just do this little business? Haha, it's just a meal, you raised it. Qingkong smiled and waved his hand. Not necessarily, many people don't see it as transparently than you. Where, I'm also listening to this. I learned it from a senior in business, but I didn't come up with it by myself, haha. Alright. Terumi May didn't care about it, and took the card issued by Qingkong, and she turned and left. By the way, if you stay here for a long time, you'd better go to the Mizu Cage building to report again, so as not to be caught as a spy. Terumi May reminded it purely. Thank you, I will go. Waved her hand, Terumi May walked away completely this time. Qingkong also breathed a sigh of relief. After all, it was quite tiring to be questioned, not to mention being a smart person like Terumi May, it was really hard to cheat. Another few days passed after the dazzling. After some investigation, Qingkong finally found the residence of the Hui tribe, but what he didn't expect was that the Hui tribe had long been excluded by Mizu Cage, and was distributed to live outside the village. This is really, play it. If I knew this, I wouldn't come in. Okay. Silent Qingkong, in the evening, he left a mosquito clone in the hotel to hide. The main body flew out of Kirigakure and arrived at a relatively remote location in the Kaguya clan in the southeast corner. Haha, drink. Oh. That won't work, you are such a waste. At night, there are still many people in the Hui clan who have not slept and are drinking and eating meat by the campfire. The rude guys, with dark circles under their eyes, combed their hair like Neza, and matched their big square faces, they were ugly and ugly. Master Patriarch, what does Mizu Cage mean? Do you want us to live in such a remote place? Yes, it's so beautiful. If it doesn't work, just go the other way. I've seen that little dwarf a long time ago, and he's not a man at all. Yes, reverse them. Ho ho, it's the other way around. A group of Kaguya people raised their fists and shouted, taking the lead to rebel. Advertisement. If this happens in a normal family, as the head of the family, anyone who has a bit of a brain must be pressured first and see how things change. But Hui is different from others, and their patriarch is also a weird thing. A middle-aged man sits in the first place with the same square face and Neza head, but he is the head of the Hui clan. He took a vicious bite of the leg of lamb, chewed it twice, then swallowed it with a grunt, and then said, "Then gather the fighting power of the clan, let's reverse it together." This is as simple as eating. When the Kaguya people heard this, they all screamed like an orc party. Roar! Reversed! Go to war! For the Hui clan, war or something is really like eating and drinking. They advocate violence and are not afraid of death. If there is no chance for them to vent their excess force, then it would be the worst thing for them. On the treetops in the distance, Qingkong, who saw these things in his eyes, couldn't help but shook his head. The Kirigakure is definitely the most unstable factor of Kirigakure, and it is a very scary hidden danger. Of course, it is Kirigakure's high-level people who should have a headache, and it has nothing to do with Qingkong. Buzzing! Turning into a black cloud, Qingkong flew away from the treetops and headed towards the depths of the residence of the Hui clan. After turning around twice, they finally found the place where they were holding the prisoners. Qingkong also bypassed the guards and flew in with the Mosquito army. This is an underground space, and there is a prison in a dark cave. It's dinner, brat. You will be used soon, don't starve lousy here. A guard came over, threw a tray of food on the ground, and then turned and left. Inside the prison, there is a child who is 8 or 9 years old with a thin body. He hadn't eaten for most of the day, but he didn't even look at the food sent by the guard. Why? I want to stay in this kind of place. In the dim space, the child muttered to himself. He took out a bone knife and plunged it into a figure carved on the wall. Why, did I do something bad? Bah! Laugh! Stabbed again and again, the child was venting his hatred. God, is there really a God in this world? If so, why do you want me to be locked in such a place? The child's hatred became heavier and heavier, and he suddenly raised the bone knife, about to insert it into the head of the wall portrait. But the next moment, he stopped for an instant and stood still on the spot. Do you really want to leave here? Kimimaro. The portrait on the wall is alive, his eyes are like a black abyss, mysterious and terrifying. Are you a god? Kimimaro was already stunned and couldn't help asking. Chapter 16. God. The portrait sneered and said, for some people, it may be, but for more people, I am more of a demon. The devil. Whispering the word softly, Kimimaro's eyes are getting brighter, because he is not afraid of the dark, but does not want to live alone. It's like a weed, no one notices even if it dies. That kind of meaningless life is what Kimimaro doesn't want. Master Demon King, are you here to take me away? Yes, Kimimaro, I need you to fight for me instead of wasting my life in this dirty prison and living humble. The portrait stretched out a hand and said, come on, Kimimaro, as the knight chosen by the devil, you should set off now. As you wish, my lord. Excited, Kimimaro knelt down on one knee, then reached out a hand and placed it in the portrait's hand. As if sinking into a quagmire. Kimimaro slowly disappeared into the prison, and the idol was also empty. In a forest a few miles away from the Uchiha clan. One big and one small, two figures emerged from the ground. It was Kimimaro who had just disappeared, and he was an adult, opening the special Sharingan Qingkong. Cold face, dark eyes, plus a slender black robe. Don't say, Qingkong's current appearance is indeed a bit of a devil's meaning. Kimimaro believes in this even more. After breathing a few breaths of fresh air, he knelt down in front of Qingkong again, and said solemnly, Master Devil, thank you for your salvation and need. Kimimaro swears to God that in the future, he will kill all enemies for the Lord. Back. Well, you are interested, Kimimaro. Qingkong smiled slightly, helped Kimimaro up, patted his shoulder and said, I feel your will, but your current strength is not enough. Let's practice hard first. I look forward to your performance in the future. Yes, my lord. Kimimaro nodded firmly, full of expectation in his heart. For the next 2 days, Qingkong stayed in the forest to teach Kimimaro, and of course he was also monitoring the movements of the Uchiha clan. On Kirigaku's side, the clone was still pretending to be a hawker, and Tenten went to the street to sell goods so as not to be exposed. Meet again, Sunny. It's Terumi Mei, good morning. When they met on the street again, Qingkong smiled and said hello. As for Sunny, it was his alias now. Terumi Mei also smiled, bending her mouth and said, how has the business been in the past 2 days? Has it met your expectations? Very good, the villagers in Kirigaku are very kind and often come to patronize my business. Haha, you are really optimistic. Terumi Mei couldn't help but shook her head, because her family knew her family affairs. Kirigaku, who is implementing the blood fog policy, is under great pressure from top to bottom, whether it is a ninja or ordinary people. Once there is a slight disturbance, everyone will be vigilant and extremely nervous. Still kind? That's not Miss Shinobi of blood in Terumi Mei's eyes at all. Since the business is good, then you continue to cheer. Turning around, Terumi Mei considered it, and finally couldn't help but wave his hand. The village is not very safe these days. You'd better not go out at night, otherwise something will happen, and such a nice little brother will just disappear. It's really a shame. Advertisement. Shrimp? Are you being molested? Seeing Terumi Mei leaving behind, Qingkong couldn't help but twitched his mouth. God is so fragrant that the jade is lost. Is this a vocabulary that can be used on men? It is enough. Pushing his own car, Qingkong changed a place to continue selling goods. However, after Terumi Mei's reminder, he could feel that he might not be far from the rebellion of the Uchiha clan. After all, Kirigakure is already aware of it. In a blink of an eye, another day and night passed. The Qingkong body, who was resting in the forest outside Kirigakure, suddenly opened his eyes. "My lord, what's the matter?" Kimimaro also stopped practicing and asked suspiciously. "The Kyoryuaki clan has started a riot and is on the way to Kirigakure. This is their last craziness. Come and see it with me." "Yes." Kimimaro has no emotions, even if it is related to the decline and death of the Kyoryuaki clan. 10 minutes later, the two came to a hillside, and members of the Kyoryuaki clan gathered here, but they couldn't make any further progress. Because Kirigakure had been prepared for a long time, he sent a large number of ninjas to come and besiege the Kyoryuaki people. Kill. Go to hell. Water style, great waterfall technique. In all directions, they are all ninjas of mist shinobi. Even the members of the Kyoryuaki clan are very powerful and resistant to beatings, but facing enemies several times theirs, they are now defeated and at a disadvantage. Damn it! Tang Song's dance. Among the Kyoryuaki clan, Kimimaro is not the only one who has dead bone pulse. Other members of the inner clan, including the patriarch, can also use their own bones to fight. It's just that their blood is not as pure as Kimimaro, and the hardness of their bones is much worse. Facing the siege of 6 or 7 mist shinobi Jainin, even if the patriarch of Kaguya was very leathery, he killed the other two with recklessness. But in the end, he was hacked to death. As soon as the Kaguya patriarch died, the rest of the clansmen fought their own way, and it was only a matter of time before the end of the clan. The other side. Qingkong is about to have a meal too. He just waved with one hand, and he manipulated an army of hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes, dispersed and then arrived on the battlefield. One word: sucking on horses. Of those corpses lying on the ground, one was counted as one, whether it was from the Kyoryuaki clan or the ninja from Kirigakure, Qingkong never let it go. He even sucked even those living people who were still breathing. 10. Hundreds. More and more were absorbed, and gradually, Qingkong felt that his abilities had reached saturation again. Chapter 17. In that case, just sprint directly. Qingkong continued to work harder, smoking more fiercely. Until half an hour passed, he had smoked more than 500 corpses. With another bang, King Kong's body swelled and then shrunk. After going through this process, the 8-sided crystal in his mind also became 16-sided. Okay. After regaining his senses, Qingkong shook his fist, feeling that he had fully improved his strength, and he was even more overjoyed and extremely satisfied. Kimimaro, let's go. Yes. I saw Qingkong manipulating mosquitoes to suck the corpses throughout the process, but Kimimaro's face did not change at all, and he accepted it naturally. It is indeed the most perfect tool man in the Hokage world. If you say less and do more, you don't care about anything except the order and ignore it. Definitely better than by that tool man. Qingkong was also very satisfied with Kimimaro. He smiled slightly, and took the lead to walk away. The affair of Kyoryuaki family has come to an end. Most of the dead bodies have been sucked clean by Qingkong, and there are so many melons left, he doesn't care anymore. As for Kirigakure, Qingkong wanted to disband the clone over there directly, and return to Konoha with Kimimaro. But after thinking about it carefully, he still intends to keep this clone, acting as an internal response, collecting information or something. Anyway, nothing will be delayed. Have you left like this? Suddenly, a hoarse voice from behind came from behind, which made Kimimaro vigilant and made a defensive action in an instant. Hehe, what a nice kid, he not only has the blood of dead bone pulse, but he also has great talent. Come with me, I will help you find the true meaning of life. The man started bewitching. It is a pity that Kimimaro is still holding a bone knife on alert, and he doesn't even mean to talk to the other party. Don't pretend to be a fool, Orochimaru, come out and meet. Qingkong patted Kimimaro on the shoulder, letting him go aside. Oh? Your Excellency actually knows me. On the grass, a figure slowly emerged, not Orochimaru or someone. Hehe, after following me for 3 days, I thought you wouldn't come out anymore, Mr. Leng Kun. Qingkong said with a smile, and was also telling Orochimaru that he had discovered him a long time ago, but he didn't make it clear. Orochimaru's face changed slightly. After all, he was very confident in his earth-style ninjutsu, and he couldn't overstate a master. But now it was discovered from the beginning, how can I not be annoyed? But Orochimaru is Orochimaru, even if he feels upset, he doesn't show it. Brother, how about making a deal? Orochimaru licked his lower lip. What? Leave this child to me, and I will let you leave safely. Puff haha. Qingkong laughed, and then said for a while, Orochimaru, did you make your own head stupid by doing the experiment? Or did you think that you can scream and drink when you are older and teach me how to do things? Advertisement. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and said with murderous aura, I haven't been out for a long time. Now the younger generation is so arrogant. Have you forgotten my reputation? That's not true. In fact, your reputation is really nothing to me, let alone worth a few dollars. Smelly boy, you are looking for death. Orochimaru finally couldn't help being angry. He used a killer move as soon as he shot. Several lion majesty shot out from the cuffs and rushed towards Qingkong across a distance of tens of meters. Stay aside, this is not an opponent you can handle. Kimimaro also prepared to step forward to resist, but was stopped by Qingkong. Kimimaro, who is only 9 years old, can't stop Orochimaru even though his dead bone pulse blood succession is very strong. Instead of wasting that energy, it's better to stay by and watch the show. Qingkong took a step forward by himself. As soon as he stretched out his hand, several black lion majesty came out of his cuff, colliding with Orochimaru's lion majesty. Boom! 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 The smoke and dust exploded, and both sides suffered losses, but in terms of hardness, Qingkong's mosquitoes were better and suppressed Orochimaru's lion majesty. Wind style, great breakthrough. Seeing that the situation was wrong, Orochimaru decisively gave up lion majesty, and Ju-in performed a ninjutsu. The violent wind danced wildly, and the mosquito pie lion majesty of Qingkong was also blown to pieces and fell one after another between the noises. But because of this, I wanted to kill Qingkong's mosquitoes, it was even more impossible. Only in the next second, Qingkong's mosquitoes flew again, gathered into a black dragon from the air, and pounced on Orochimaru with its teeth and claws. This is Qingkong's mystery of Vientian, which can control the mosquito army into any form. Boom! With a loud noise, the black dragon also slammed into a big crater where Orochimaru was. Damn it! A little embarrassed and avoided, but Orochimaru's face didn't look pretty. Once upon a time, he was still one of the majestic Sunan, Lengkun Orochimaru. When ordinary ninjas see him, let's not say they are peeing their pants in fright, at least they are frightened. But now? Even Orochimaru himself has to admit that the new generation of ninja world has grown too fast. There was Uchiha Itachi, who started Mangekyo Sharingan when he was 13 years old and killed his whole family. The cowhide is not like an individual. And now this one seems to be in his 20s, but he is skilled in his actions, manipulating black bugs, and he is very horrible. This horse riding came out of nowhere. Orochimaru has never heard of such a genius in Ninja Village. What's wrong, Orochimaru, can't you do this? While controlling the black dragon to attack, Qingkong asked with a smile. Humph, you're so smug, kid. Orochimaru remained calm and did not choose too powerful moves, so as not to make too much noise and attract the people from Kirigakure. He opened his mouth to spit out the Kusanara sword, grabbed it, and jumped up high. Only hearing a stab, he chopped off the black dragon's head. Chapter 18. However, Qingkong's black dragon is not a real living thing. Under his control, within a second, the dragon head and the dragon body reunited again. Still chasing Orochimaru fiercely. See this scene. Orochimaru also understood that purely physical attacks were not feasible. Without saying anything, he put away the Kusanara sword that had been used only once. Then he made a seal with both hands and quickly pressed it to the ground. Summoning giant snake. Boom! The white smoke dissipated, and a huge giant snake appeared at Orochimaru's feet, and started a fight with Qingkong's black dragon. But, it's not that Qingkong looks down on Orochimaru. A giant snake, a living one, still wants to fight its own army of mosquitoes. This is not to show that meat buns beat dogs. No, it's pure feeding. Qingkong just moved his mind, and the black dragon broke into pieces, transforming into an army of mosquitoes like black mist. In this way, not only did Orochimaru's giant snake have no way to sip, but even if it wanted to bite, it couldn't bite. When the mosquito army rushed down and covered the body of the giant snake, its end had come. Just struggled for 5 seconds. A giant snake tens of meters long was sucked into a shriveled corpse by millions of mosquitoes, and there was no time to go back to Earth Dragon Cave. Boom! The dry and cracked corpse hit the ground, and Orochimaru's face turned green. The key is that he doesn't understand, what kind of ninjutsu is Qingkong, how can it be so powerful? Boy, are you from the Abarame clan? Without going forward to fight, Orochimaru stepped back and asked. Sorry, it wasn't you who asked, I must answer. Kirigakure has already heard the movement, sending a ninja over. Do you want to continue fighting? Qingkong said with a slight smile. Orochimaru is speechless, but he also understands that he won't get any benefits anymore. At least, before figuring out the opponent's ninjutsu. Hehe, funny kid, but this matter is not over yet, I will find you again. While talking, Orochimaru also licked his lips and slowly sank into the ground. Okay, waiting for you. Who wouldn't speak harsh words? Qingkong waved his hand and stubbornly said. After half a day. Throwing away those Kirigakure's Anbu ninjas, Qingkong brought Kun Ma to a place near the sea. My lord, do we want to cross the sea? But there are no ships. Qingkong smiled, and directly released a mosquito. I saw that after the mosquito flew into the air, its body quickly became larger. It has grown to more than 10 meters before it stops. Kimimaro was dumbfounded, not only because of the power of this ninjutsu, but also because of the hideous and terrifying look of the giant mosquito. 6 thin legs, a pair of fins, and the mouth parts that are several meters long. If this is stabbed, let alone blood-sucking, the trauma alone will be fatal. My lord, shall we, take it over? Always fearless and fearless, Kimimaro, who was extremely daring, now has a bit of liver tremor, and was frightened by this huge mosquito. Well, let's go. Qingkong didn't care so much, he mentioned Kimimaro for a moment, and then he came to the back of the giant mosquito. Advertisement. Buzzing. The giant mosquitoes fluttered their wings and took off. A group of fast-moving mosquitoes crossed several kilometers of land and came to the sea in a blink of an eye. Correct. After consuming the blood of hundreds of members of the Huayuryuaki clan, in addition to getting the Dead Bone Pulse blood successor, Qingkong's ability was upgraded again, and this ability was also awakened by the way. You can make mosquitoes bigger or smaller. Don't think that this ability is very weak. With this, Qingkong can do more, and the strength is more than doubled. It took 7 or 8 days to come. It only took a day to go back on the giant mosquito. The country of fire, Konoha. Qingkong brought Kimimaro back, and placed him in the Death Forest first, so that he and Uchiha Chuan could receive training together to practice ninjutsu. After that, Qingkong disbanded the mosquitoes remaining in Konoha again, and received the memory of this period of time. Uzumaki Naruto, stop for me. Konoha is still the same, a group of harmonious atmosphere, everyone talks and laughs, and children fight with each other. And Uzumaki Naruto. Even though he has gone to school, he often makes trouble in the village. Iruka chased him all the way, tired and out of breath. Haha, Mr. Iruka, your speed is too slow, is it a snail? Lololo. Naruto stood on the eaves, slapped her and laughed at Iruka. Iruka suddenly burst into anger, an infinite power emerged in his body, and he ran after Naruto fiercely with his leg pulled out. The two chased and fled. Everywhere he went, he was furious, and attracted countless villagers scolding. When Qingkong passed by, he happened to see this scene, and compared with Kirigakuru's situation, he also shook his head speechlessly. It's so easy. Konoha is strong, but he can't hold back from slacking himself. No wonder Orochimaru couldn't stand it anymore, and wanted to execute the collapse plan. The key is Sarutobi Hiruzen and Konoha's own problems. The windmill is no longer spinning, unless there is an outside wind. And Orochimaru, he did that wind. Sunny, empty kun. It's Hinata, are you here to go shopping? Hinata's face flushed, and she didn't know what she was ashamed of. Walk together. Hi. Qingkong smiled, regardless of Hinata, who was blushing like blood, he went shopping on the street first. When Hinata saw Qingkong had gone, he hurriedly chased after him like a little daughter-in-law, her shy expression, it would be weird if she had no thoughts. After playing for a long time, I went to eat ramen for dinner again when I was hungry. Do you want another bowl? Before I saw it, Hinata had finished making the bowl of ramen, Qingkong asked. Hinata was indeed not full, and blushed and replied in a low voice. Next, Qingkong also saw what a real big stomach king is. More importantly, even after eating 7 or 8 bowls of ramen, Hinata's belly did not rise. Chapter 19. This damned baby doesn't know where to eat the noodles. When paying the bill, Qingkong shook his head slightly. The risk was that he had bought Uchiha's property and had a lot of money on hand. Otherwise, according to the previous economic conditions, it would be very difficult to even invite Hinata to have a meal. Qingkong-kun, how about? I'll pay. Hinata was very embarrassed and took out her little wallet and said. No, I'll treat you to something. Qingkong paid the bill happily, and didn't care about this little thing. Then, I will invite Qingkong-kun next time. Good. After another meeting, the two separated, Qingkong also returned to the orphanage. Go to school the next day. Sasuke blocked Qingkong and said with a cold face, fight me, this time I won't lose to you again. This is the awakening of the heart of revenge, have you practiced stealthily at home? Regarding the second pillar of Mizi's self-confidence and feeling that he has done it again, Qingkong certainly won't shrink back, even if he is just a mosquito clone. Okay, see how much you have grown in this period of time, go to the training ground. Qingkong waved his hand. Humph. Sasuke snorted and walked away. Oh, this Qingkong promised that he would work harder later when he started. On the training ground. The duel between Sasuke and Qingkong also attracted the attention of many students. Come on, Sasuke-kun. Qingkong-kun, beat him fiercely. Fight, fight. It wasn't too much to watch the show. Some male students shouted, but they were soon suppressed by the female fan group of Qingkong and Sasuke. Sasuke didn't wait any longer, he took the lead and threw a hidden weapon at Qingkong. Whoosh whoosh. Qingkong dodged, and also responded to Sasuke with a shuriken. The two of you came and went, and after testing with hidden weapons, they discussed physical skills. Of course, compared to close combat, Sasuke is far inferior to Qingkong, but he fought 2 or 3 times before being punched and flew out by Qingkong. Boom! While in the air, Sasuke became a piece of wood. Then he appeared behind Qingkong, stretched out his arms and pulled hard. With only a stab, 2 steel wires flew out of the soil, directly binding Qingkong. Do you think I will make the same mistake a second time? A sneer evoked at the corner of Sasuke's mouth, and at the same time, the hands of the steel wire began to form a seal. Fire style, dragon fire technique. A flame spit out from Sasuke's mouth and rushed towards Qingkong in the binding along the steel wire. And this scene frightened the students' onlookers. Ah! Qingkong-kun! Stop it! A whole Sasuke, do you want to kill? Advertisement. Hinata was terrified and covered her mouth, while Ino was swearing angrily. Because Qingkong was already tied up, they didn't think that in this state, Qingkong would still have the opportunity to resist. However, that is for ordinary people. Boom! The flame hit Qingkong's body and a big explosion occurred. But just as the students were dumbfounded, Qingkong's figure appeared behind Sasuke again. You don't think you can make mistakes, but that's just what you think. In my eyes, you are just a boring trick played by children, understand? You. Sasuke's eyes widened, just about to step away and pull away. Unfortunately, it was too late. Qingkong kicked 3 feet in an instant, kicked him directly more than 10 meters away, thumped and fell to the ground, and rolled several times. But this is already Qingkong's mercy, otherwise only his current strength, let alone 3 legs, can send Sasuke to the west with 1 kick. Ah, it's really boring. Qingkong yawned, waved to Ino, Hinata and the others, and then left alone. Wow, Qingkong-kun is so handsome. It's amazing, what happened just now. Sasuke, who has learned fire style, is still beaten like this. How strong is Qingkong-kun now? Another genius. The students talked a lot, and they all felt eye-opening. As for the defeated Sasuke, he has become an ugly duckling that nobody cares about. He can only lie on the ground alone, licking his wounds by himself. Damn it! He smashed the ground hard, and Sasuke was also furious. After all, he couldn't even beat a classmate, so how could he talk about revenge against that man? It's a pity that Sasuke doesn't know that the current Qingkong, except that Mangekyo has not been opened yet. In other respects, physique, ninjutsu, plus the Mosquito ability, may not be weaker than Uchiha Itachi. From spring to autumn, years are also dazzling. Qingkong has moved out of the orphanage and finds a house by himself. Yakushi Nanoyo was still dead. When the news came back, all the people in the orphanage had been crying for a long time. But there is no way. Qingkong wanted to save people, he also sent a clone to Iwagakure, but it was a pity that he didn't find the other party after looking for it for a long time. After all, no Nayu is the best spy in the roots. She wants to hide it, except for those at the root, it is impossible for anyone to find her. To be honest, Qingkong feels that Danzo is really stupid. The reason for wanting to kill Nanoyu and Yakushi Kabuto is that they are too good as spies. What kind of logic is this about riding a horse? Squeezing Orochimaru away and killing Hitaki Sakumo can be seen as a fight for a seat. The destruction of the Senju clan and the extinction of the Uchiha clan can be seen as maintaining the power of Hokage. But what can the 2 spies threaten to Danzo? It's simply too showy. In a word, Danzo is a shibai who has little abilities, but is more eccentric than the sky and wants to control everything. Drive low and go high, of course there are more things to eradicate. It's like a dwarf cutting sugar cane. Anything that doesn't exceed his head is an alien and must be given the harshest humane destruction. Chapter 20. Kamiya Qingkong, come with us, there is an adult who wants to see you. Going home from school in the afternoon, just after walking through an alley, 2 masked ninjas appeared in front of Qingkong. Anbu? Or the root? If he speaks in this tone, Qingkong thinks that the latter is more likely. Yes, I just finished scolding the old Danzo dog as shibai, so he came to the door so quickly. Are dog ears so good? Look for me? What are you doing? You know it when you go. That won't work. In case you are spies, first make it clear who is looking for me. God spy. The root ninja said impatiently, boy, this is Konoha, how could a spy come in? Hurry up with us, don't waste time. It's hard to say, the spies of various countries are so rampant, what's so strange about mixing in Konoha? Qingkong pierced his ears and said. A-hole. They said don't talk nonsense with him, just grab it and save time. Seeing that his companion was furious, another root ninja smiled and said. On King Kong's side, he also seemed to be shocked, yelled and jumped out a few meters away. He pointed his finger at the two ninjas and said, you want to arrest someone, you two are really spies. Both ninjas are speechless and get home. But misunderstanding, the roots are the most efficient in doing things, they have wasted a lot of time. Seeing that Qingkong had been unwilling to compromise, the two ninjas looked at each other and rushed towards Qingkong together, preparing to take him down first. Of course Qingkong wouldn't be able to catch it. Taking advantage of the fact that the two root ninjas didn't pay much attention to himself, he was a killer move, and he was merciless. Brush! Qingkong opened his eyes, and the special Sharingan instantly activated the illusion. The two root ninjas only felt a flower in front of them, and then they were stunned. But Qingkong is not over yet. After using illusion to control the two ninjas, he immediately used the mosquito army to directly surround the two. Swallow it all. Ah. The two ninjas let out a cry. But with a deep illusion, they didn't even have a chance to resist, so they were sucked into corpses by the mosquito army. Immediately afterwards, under the tears of hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes, the two mummy corpses were also completely shattered, turning into dust and drifting away with the wind a little bit. The whole process takes less than 2 minutes. The two elite ninjas at the root disappeared without a trace, leaving no trace. And Qingkong is here. He was like an okay person, holding the back of his head in his hands, whistling and walking away. What's the matter? People haven't brought it back yet. After waiting for more than 2 hours, Shimura Danzo was impatient with no one. Actually, the reason why he fancied Qingkong is because Danzo wants to execute a new spy plan. A few years ago, Yakushi Nanoya died at the hands of Kabuto, and then Kabuto also disappeared. After losing 2 of the strongest spies one after another, Danzo's infiltration plan in other countries was also greatly hindered. Of course, he did all this by himself, and no one else can be blamed. But the old people are gone, and new people must always be cultivated. In this way, both from the Welfare Institute, the foundation is also very clean, and the results are good in the ninja school. Qingkong, who has almost a perfect score in the subject, entered Danzo's site. After some more investigations, Danzo was about to include Qingkong in the plan and recruited to the roots. But, the recruitment action tonight doesn't seem to go well. 2 elite Chunin act together to catch a primary school student who has not graduated. After doing this little thing, I haven't come back for 2 hours. Advertisement. Needless to say, something must have happened. Check it out for me, if you live to see people or die, you must see corpses. Yes, my lord. The root ninja led away. But Danzo was destined to be disappointed, because not to mention the corpse, Qingkong didn't even leave him a hair. An overnight investigation was fruitless, not to mention Danzo's angry Sharingan jumping around. Turning the sky, the deity Qingkong also came to the school. Because today is graduation day, the assessment is not important, but there is still a big drama in the evening. Nara Shikamaru, come up and perform clone technique. Boom. Pass through. Inyazukato is coming up for the test. Boom. Pass through. Higa Hinata. Boom. Pass through. Uchiha Sasuke. Boom. Pass through. Kamiya Qingkong. Boom. Pass through. Uzumaki Naruto. Click. Fail. Iruka is also very helpless. Looking at Naruto's soft and useless clone, he really can't give a good comment from his conscience. Teacher, I was not ready just now, let me try again. Naruto, who felt like it was a mess, begged. This. Iruka hesitated, not wanting to break the rules. But Mizuki smiled and persuaded him, Mr. Iruka, I think Naruto is still quite capable. Maybe he was really not ready just now. Let him try again. This, well, since Mizuki, you are optimistic about him. Iruka nodded and agreed. But Naruto, who was affected by Nine Tails, couldn't control chakra at all. Even if the assessment is performed again, the ending is still a failure. At the graduation ceremony, the big guys all gathered together, talking and laughing, ready to take pictures. Only Naruto was sitting alone on the swing in the corner, looking at the classmates very enviously. Listening to the gossip of those parents, accusing myself of what kind of demon fox, fortunately I did not become a Jainin. A touch of hatred also emerged from his heart. Well, that look is not so good, Naruto-kun. Ms. Mizuki. Looking at the person who suddenly appeared next to him, the bit of hatred in Naruto's eyes disappeared completely. Chapter 21. Still worrying about not being able to graduate. Yes. Naruto did not deny, lowered his head and said, I really want to graduate, just like everyone, become a ninja and contribute to the village. Hee. Mizuki smiled and touched Naruto's hair and said, I really can't do anything with you. In that case, I will tell you a big secret. What? This is. The big secret Mizuki said was of course the Book of Seals. Naruto was also dumbfounded, believing Mizuki's nonsense, and fell into a trap. The other side. While listening to Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen's nutritious speech, in fact, Qingkong also sent mosquitoes to secretly monitor Naruto's movements. See him being fooled away by Mizuki. Qingkong also showed a slight smile and closed his eyes comfortably. In the afternoon, towards the dusk, Sarutobi Hiruzen's speech that looked like an old lady's feet was finally finished. I don't know where he got so much nonsense. Tenten didn't talk about it when he came to school, and he didn't let everyone go after graduation. Qingkong-kun, let's go have a meal together. When leaving school, Ino ran over very excitedly. Okay, who is there? Qingkong was looking for an alibi, so he didn't refuse it. As far as our class is concerned, there are probably 7 or 8 people. Oh, then let's go. After Qingkong and Ino gathered with the army, a group of people left the school and went to a barbecue restaurant. In fact, there were not many people who came to this party, less than 1/3 of the class. Excluding those useless Longtao classmates, Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang, this time only 7 people gathered. Tenten Xiaoliniji is not there. Naruto and Sasuke did not come either. The former was stealing the Book of the Seal, while the latter was out of gregariousness and went home alone. Qingkong-kun, do you have any plans after graduation? Let's take a look at tomorrow's division of classes first, and I'll talk about the others later. That's right. Ino nodded, and then looked at Qingkong with an idiotic look. I really want to be in the same class with Qingkong-kun, so that we can meet Tenten in the future. Forward. Idiot. Women are trouble. While Qingkong was speechless, Harano Sakura and Shikamaru also complained. Wide forehead, what are you talking about? Shikamaru is fine, but Ino is not used to Harano Sakura. Don't call me wide forehead, idiot Ino. You just have a wide forehead, don't you allow others to say it. Advertisement. Idiot Ino. Wide forehead. Idiot Ino. Wide forehead. The two girls quarreled, and the hot scene also caused headaches for everyone sitting there. Of course, there are also those who don't care. Akim Ichichi, even if Harano Sakura and Ino are about to fight, he still doesn't care, and desperately puts barbecue in his mouth. In other words, it has been like this since the beginning of the party, and he hasn't stopped to rest. The Akamichi family is really terrifying. The other side. Following Mizuki's instructions, Uzumaki Naruto finally stole the Book of Seal in the Hokage building. After that, he went to the forest with no one, opened the Book of Seals and looked at it. Let me see the first ninjutsu, more,